New York, big city of dreams.
I'm coming straight out.
New York, big city of dreams.
NYC.
What's going on? This is Ellis from Nick of Time Show. Here to give you that Knicks talk just in the nick of time. Joining me today, the man, the myth, the legend, the guy with the stats and the facts.
Ryan G is in the building.
Damn right, he's in the building.
Yes, sir.
Knicks fans, we just finished watching the Heat and the Lakers go toe to toe. And there were certain things that I liked that I saw from this matchup, mainly because these teams are two teams who weren't really in the playoff picture before. And now we're looking at them like, well, damn, it seems like it is possible for things to change quickly if we have the right organization and the right pieces in place. So I thought it would be nice to kind of, compare the Knicks to not the Lakers, because I don't feel like the Knicks.
Yeah, I don't think a LeBron and AD player come to Knicks anytime soon.
Right. But it's interesting because when you compare the Knicks to the Heat, you can, if you squint really hard, Ryan, like if you just woke up, snot is in your eyes, and you squint real hard, you can kind of see similarities between certain players, and you can kind of get to see a pathway to where Knicks' success can be. Go ahead, Ryan. I know you want to say something.
No, I was just saying that, the Heat is the more realistic possibility, because if you look at the Heat and the way they formed their team, a lot of it is formed through the draft. So the Heat just drafted well, and then they were able to track one star player in Jimmy Butler.
Facts.
You put it together, maybe you work out a couple of trades.
Mm-hmm.
You put it together, and then all of a sudden you have a team that's a contender. And the thing about the Heat too is that the Heat doesn't really have a superstar player. It's just one star player in Jimmy Butler and a bunch of like really good players and role players put together. So it's very possible to make an NBA Finals as long as you have a squad that complements each other and plays off of each other really well and plays defense.
Exactly. So what we're going to do right now, or we're going to attempt to do anyway, which we thought would be fun for us and you guys to watch, is kind of put together a plan of how the Knicks can pretty much build a Dollar Tree Miami Heat.
Great value Miami Heat.
Yes. Like if you go to Walmart, this is for Knicks fans. This is only for the Knicks fans, because I know some people are gonna be looking at these players like, there's no way this play can be this, and there's no way this play can be that. But Ryan, I know a lot of Knicks fans might be thinking this. When I watched Jimmy Butler do what he did, bully balling people, causing the switch, him taking advantage of the mismatches and bully balling people from 15 feet in, I'm watching this game thinking, man, if RJ can just watch this game, and to me, it's foreseeable that RJ can kind of look at his game and tailor it towards Jimmy Butler, just because they both have that I'm going to outwork you bully ball mentality. All right, am I alone in thinking this?
I think it's a possibility. I mean, of course, a lot of people are going to be looking at RJ Barrett and looking at Jimmy Butler and being like, Jimmy Butler is definitely the much better player at the moment, which is true, because Jimmy Butler is a veteran. He's been in the game. He's much more knowledgeable. He's worked in this game extra hard to get to where he is right now. And RJ Barrett still has a lot of work to do. But if you look at both of their games, like if you look at Jimmy Butler, like I wouldn't say Jimmy Butler does one thing exceptional. He just does everything really good. Like he can score, he can rebound,
right?
He can also create baskets for other players around him. He can post up. he can play defense. He just does a lot of things really good. And the way I look at RJ Barrett, like I think of RJ Barrett as a similar type of player. Like there's not one thing that RJ Barrett does exceptional, but he does things really good. And I feel like if RJ Barrett just develops his game over time, and even this past offseason, like RJ Barrett bulked up. So now he's even stronger. So he can definitely do the bully ball thing where he can take players on the post and take advantage of them, once the switch happens and he gets a smaller player on him.
Right.
He can also score the ball. I mean, yeah, this past season he wasn't that great at finishing at the rim, but like we've mentioned, like the Knicks hardly had any spacing.
Right.
Jimmy Butler in Miami, Jimmy Butler has the spacing because he's surrounded by shooters. So he's able to drive to the basket and impose his will on whoever's guarding him. And I feel like RJ Barrett, with him getting stronger, he'll be able to do similar things in New York.
Exactly. And it's interesting once you really dig into the numbers, because for this episode, guys, I was really digging into like the clean the glass stats and NBAstats.com and really comparing these two. And when you look at what Jimmy Butler's done in Miami, he really didn't shoot that well for the year at all. Like, I mean, obviously, okay, his overall shooting percentage is 45%. But when you're looking at his three-point percentage, it's at 25%. When you're looking at his effective field goal percentage, it's in the 23rd percentile. When you're looking at his mid-range percentage, it's in the 47th percentile. There was only two places where he really shot well on the floor, and that's in the lower mid-range, right? When he shot around 40%. And then he shot around 64% at the rim. And when you're looking at the cleaning the glass stats, those numbers are pretty good. They're okay, but they're not even like 99 percentile. They're just good percentages. And so when you look at what Jimmy Butler does well and compare it to RJ's does well, you can kind of see a path where RJ can go that Jimmy Butler route. And to me, having Tom Thibodeau and these development staffs here to teach RJ certain things makes that pathway even more applicable eventually. But there's still certain things that I feel like it's going to be a longer road to get to. But I feel like, I'm not saying RJ has a chance. RJ definitely has a chance. And I'm gonna get to something that Ryan was speaking about before, right? Listen, RJ, we all saw RJ got snubbed. He didn't make the rookie team, even though he finished with 14 points a game, and was among the league leader in steals amongst the rookies. But despite his shooting deficiencies, what RJ was elite at is the foul rate. He was able to draw fouls at such a high rate that he is in the 92nd percentile in the NBA, drawing fouls at 14.8% of the times. So what does that tell you? That tells you, as a star, as a guy in this league, if you can't hit the jump shot, if you can't hit the three at a high rate, the next best thing to do is to go to the foul line. And as you can see, when the game slows down in the playoffs, Miami was able to, play the pick and roll, have mismatches on the switch. Jimmy Butler went to work, and he was able to draw fouls time after time after time after time. And that's why Jimmy Butler in general is a great player, not just because, because he makes his teammates around him better, but he's able to draw fouls at a high rate. And I feel like that's something that RJ does already, and he can kind of build off that and expand his game to mimic Jimmy Butler's. Now, what he has to expand on now, to me, is the passing.
Yep.
The passing. What do you think of Jimmy Butler's passing in the series, man?
Well, Jimmy Butler definitely showed that he has the playmaking ability. And I think he's shown that pretty much throughout his career. I think he showed that when he was in Minnesota. He showed that when he was with, Chicago, Philly. Like he's that type of player where, he can drive to the basket. And if he draws in defenders, he'll either feed the player that's open in the post for an easy basket, or he can, kick it out to a 3-point shooter. And that is something that RJ Barrett definitely has to work on. Like that part of his game isn't developed yet, but RJ Barrett has shown flashes of that.
Exactly.
He's shown flashes of it at Duke, and then he continued to show flashes of it with the Knicks. So I think that's one area of his game that he's definitely going to have to improve in. At the same time, though, like I said, it's going to have to deal with spacing. Like it's hard to do those things when you don't have the spacing, and he didn't have the spacing last year with the Knicks. And if the Knicks can, adjust the roster to where RJ Barrett's going to have that space, I feel like he can be a bit more effective in doing those similar things and, and completing those similar passes that Jimmy Butler can do.
Absolutely. And we're going to even get deeper into this talk and trying to figure out other NBA comparison comps to other Heat players that we can possibly bring into this team via free agency or during the draft to kind of fill those needs. But we'll get into that possibly in a later video, because we were really going to try and get a deep dive into what RJ Barrett can do to improve to the level of Jimmy Butler. And as Ryan was saying, the passing has to get better. He's shown flashes. Jimmy's usage rate on the pass is pretty high, 91st percentile compared to yeah compared to RJ's, who was in his 20s. But you're hoping that Tom Thibodeau can bring it out of him. I don't foresee RJ getting to that level. I hope he can.
Yeah.
But to me, when I'm looking at Jimmy Butler compared to RJ, he seems like he always had that in him where it didn't matter who was scoring. I'm dishing the ball because the man is open, and that's the way I do. I just like to play team ball. RJ has that other thing in his mind where I'm going in. It doesn't matter what. Yeah. He's had that in the Duke days, and he's had it here.
Yeah, pretty much.
And as of today, RJ is only averaging about 2 assists a game. And Jimmy Butler is at 6. I would like to get that number to minimum 4.
Yeah.
Minimum 4. And I think he can do it if Tom kind of throws it in, beats it in his head to pass the ball more. Now, like, I like the passes. Like, right as of today, he's hesitant to kick the ball out to the corner. He is a willing passer to Mitch on the pick and roll. We've seen that work. But we also seen him do a lot of damage in the pick and roll at Duke. So he has it in him. But for me, the path to success for RJ Barrett is to really concentrate on driving and kicking. 1. 2, passing out the post. Because he's a big bully ball player, because he is in the 68th percentile in post ups, compared to Jimmy Butler, who's in the 79th percentile, which is why I feel like that's another comparison where those two are kind of similar. I feel like if he's able to get his passing game up, if he's able to look at some film and get those passes to the corner for the most part, because that's where Tom Thibodeau wants to do. He wants to post up more, because you heard him say it. He wants to post up and get you those corner threes. I think that's a surefire pathway for RJ Barrett to get to Jimmy-esque level.
Yeah, ask at the moment. Just ask.
If I squint my eyes and Jimmy, is that you?
Yeah.
But yeah, I know some people were like, what? It's blasphemous.
Yeah.
It's blasphemous. I know it's a stretch. This is a Knicks fan's way of thinking, because Knicks fans
exactly.
This is very Knicks fan home way of thinking. But at the same time, Jimmy Butler is averaging 19 points per game, and he's in the finals.
Exactly.
And when you look at RJ's numbers, he was only averaging 14.3 points per game. But in March, what was he averaging? 18 points a game. 1.7 steals, And his free throw percentage went up even though as well to 75% from three. So if you combine his ability to draw fouls, post up, and just for this year, if he's able to get his free throw percentage up to a respectable percentage, because of the rate he gets to the line, RJ Barrett should average 18 a game, in my mind.
Yeah, and like we said, like, it might seem like a stretch now, but then you have to remember, Jimmy Butler is pretty much 30 years old.
Right.
RJ Barrett is 20. Like, RJ Barrett got a lot of years to go till he's 30, so there's a lot of years for improvement for RJ. So I think projecting him to develop to a Jimmy Butler-esque level isn't too crazy to say. Especially seeing that in his rookie season when he was like 19 years old, he was averaging like 14.3 points a game, and like, he's not averaging Jimmy Butler stats, but it's pretty close, and I don't think it's too wild to project that he can reach Jimmy Butler's stats in the future.
Exactly. Especially if you build this team correctly, like Ryan was saying before, more shooters. Just getting more shooters here in general will increase his percentage at the rim, because as of now, it's only at 54% at the rim, which is pretty horrific. I think that alone, with the extra year in his belt, will help on the offensive side. On the defensive side, though, Ryan.
Yeah, that's where definitely you're gonna need some help.
that's where Jimmy makes his calling card.
Yeah.
And I will say this, I was skeptical of RJ in Duke because he felt a little passive on defense at times to me. When he got to the Knicks, he wasn't a world beater on defense, but I feel like there was effort. There might be a technique thing. Because I was reading that he was in the bottom of the league when it came to one-on-one defense.
Mm-hmm.
But when it came to the pick and roll defense, he was in like the 75th percentile on pick and roll defense. So there is something there to work with on the defensive end. To me, that's you can be taught that. If you have the ability, you can be taught that. I think you can be taught that. Maybe it's just technique. Hopefully it's more fluidity in his hips to be able to slide on defense, maybe things like that. But I think he can get better in that regard on the defensive end.
Yeah, most definitely. Like RJ Barrett, he already shows the effort on defense. So it's just a matter of getting him to be a better defender and being more impactful on the defensive end. That's it. It's not like he's a player that, every time he's on defense, he just zones out all the time. Like, no, RJ Barrett is a willing defender. So you're hoping that with Tibbs there and the coaching staff and the developmental coaching staff that's there, they'll help to, coach RJ Barrett up to a point where he's going to be an impactful defender on top of, being impactful on offensive end as well.
Exactly. And just to give you the exact numbers, 76th percentile in guarding the pick and roll ball handler. And within the 77th percentile in guarding opposing players coming off screens on pick and roll. So not bad, RJ Barrett, first year pick and roll defender. Long ways to go to become Jimmy Butler, but there's a pathway, man. There's a pathway to greatness. There's a pathway, man. I'm hopeful. Knicks fans, come with the hope. Join us.
Yes, sir. we need all the hope we need right now, yo.
Yes. This episode is strictly for Knicks fans, all right? Strictly for Knicks fans. Episode is strictly for the optimistic Knicks fans.
Exactly.
Haters, go that way.
Yeah, we don't need it right now. We've had enough hate these past 20 years.
Exactly. We had enough hate this past 20 years. We're gonna talk about some hope right now.
Yes, sir.
So now that we finished talking about RJ, we move on to the next comparison that I think is pretty obvious for most people.
Yeah.
Mitchell Robinson and Bam Adebayo. Now, what do you think of these two guys, man? What do you see that's similar from these guys?
Well, Mitch and Adebayo. Well, this is to me, this is kind of a more rough comparison because I feel like there's aspects of Adebayo's game where Mitch is going to have to like really step up his game,
Yeah,
to become a similar player. But like if you look at the basics, like off the pick and roll, they're both players that can roll to the rim and finish at the rim, which is something that you need in today's NBA.
exactly.
Easy baskets off the pick and roll, and the fact that Mitch, Adebayo's a good defender at the rim, and I feel like Mitch, at this point in his career, like he's a better defender at the rim. Like he blocks more shots.
Mm-hmm.
He alters more shots and things of that nature. So he already got that on his side as well.
Right.
It's just that there's aspects of Adebayo's game like Adebayo he'll take the mid-range jumper at times.
Mm-hmm.
He'll get the ball at like near the top of the key and he'll like drive in 1-2 dribbles, finish at the rim.
Right.
And things of that nature. And Mitchell Robinson hasn't gotten to a point yet, at least in the NBA game. Like we see it on the highlight film, but of him practicing with his boys or whatnot. But
Shan God Mitch being effect on the highlight film. Like, who
exactly. But like in the NBA game, like he hasn't reached to that point where you actually like, gets the ball like near the top of the key and then he puts the ball on the floor, 1-2 dribbles and finish at the rim, or he hasn't really gotten to that point yet where like he'll take jumpers. And then another thing about Adebayo's game where Mitch needs a whole lot of improvement is the passing.
Yeah.
Because for a big man, Adebayo's a really good passer.
Yes.
Yeah, and he'll definitely like set his teammates up to in the right positions to finish well. And Mitch hasn't reached that part of his game yet. Like Mitch is barely even in the post, doing post moves and stuff. You know what I mean? So, Mitch still has a ways to go there. But overall, like, Mitch is still young. And if we have the right development coaches there, Mitch can possibly at least be like a replica or like a great value replica of Adebayo.
Yeah. I'm gonna start with the assist and the usage rating with these guys because I love everybody here loves Mitch. There's people who are out here talking about trade Mitch before we have to pay him. I'm not on that bandwagon. And here's the thing though with Mitch, the usage rate for Adebayo is just that much higher. Like he as a big man, as a center, his usage rate is at 88%, which is pretty damn high.
Yeah,
for a big man. 80th percentile, and Mitch's is at 10. And we can see why a lot of his work is just on lobs, right? But to me, the one area where I'm just like, I don't see a pathway here. I don't. Is the passing. Right now, I don't see it, Ryan. I'm sorry, I don't.
Yeah, it's a long shot. It's a long shot.
It's a long shot because the things I've seen Bam do, like he'll lead a player with a bounce pass to the rim, no problem. He'll throw a lob pass from that foul line, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
As of today, when Mitch gets the ball in the foul line, people kind of just drop back, and he looks a little lost and confused. Now, I don't know if that's because of the coaching or he's just afraid to make a move, but I would like to, minimum, see him take that 1 or 2 dribbles and go to the rim just like Adebayo does.
Yeah.
I definitely think that's possible, for sure. If he's sham God in these videos with his friends in high school, he can take 2 or 3 dribbles and bang it on your face.
Exactly.
So I have no qualms with that. Everything else, though, there's a pathway. There's definitely a pathway, right? Right now, there's a point percentage. Bam Adebayo plays more minutes. He's playing in the 30-minute range while Mitch is in the 9.7 minutes. Here's the thing. We all know Mitch still fouls at an extremely high rate.
Yeah.
So for him to get more minutes, first of all, he has to stay off. He has to stay in the game and stop fouling so much. The crazy part is, as much as he fouled this season, Ryan, he's gotten better since last season, which is crazy.
Which is crazy, yeah.
Because last season he was in the 6th percentile in his first season, and he moved that up to the 17th percentile in fouls per game, which is meaning that he fouled a little bit less.
Yeah.
A tad less. And even in this season, I don't know if it's Mike Miller's doing, but as the season went on last season, he was able to foul less, and he was fouling at the rate of average NBA centers by the end of the season, according to the Atlantic. Shout out to Mike at the Atlantic, who I got that stat from. So first and foremost, to get those points up to 16 points per game, he has to stay in the game longer, play more, about around 30 minutes a game. And the quickest way to do that is to limit the fouling.
Yeah.
Secondly, thing he needs to work on, rebounds. I know right now he's averaging 7 rebounds a game and around 23 minutes, which is amazing. But there is still something going on with the defensive rebounds when it comes to Mitch. Like, as of now, he is not he doesn't defensive rebound at a high rate, and maybe it's because he's chasing blocks, but right now he's only at a 38th percentile in defensive rebounds. But it also could be because he needs to get a little bit stronger. Maybe in the lower legs to defend off of opposing centers who are trying to rebound. He needs to get a little bit stronger. And it doesn't even just show in defensive rebounding stats. If you go on clean the glass, it also shows in the rebounding stats from the foul line, which is also pretty low in the 14th percentile. So I think strength might be an issue for Mitch. And if he gets his leg strength up in particular, I think we can shore that up. And he'll be able to be a good offensive and defensive rebounder. Because as of now, he's a really good offensive rebounder, and that's carrying his rebounding percentage so far. There are other things I like, of course. The 74% field goal percentage, the best field goal percentage in the NBA. How can you hate that? The 2 blocks a game. Awesome. He's tops in blocks and steals as an NBA center. There's the miscellaneous where maybe he can, like, he doesn't have the passing that Bam does, but you're hopeful that the shooting stroke can come alive and he'll be able to at least hit a 15-foot jumper or a 3-point shot. And if that happens, even though he won't, I don't think he'll ever get to the assist chops that Bam has. I feel like if he's able to at least spread his range a little bit, it'll give other people a little bit more room to grow, to operate. And it might help offset some of what he's missing in the assist realm.
Yeah, I definitely feel you on that. Like, with assists, like, I feel like I don't see Mitch ever being a center that can give you 5 assists a game like Adebayo does, but I can't see, like, if he can get to at least like 2.5, maybe 3 assists per game, like, I'd be happy with Mitch.
I'll definitely be happy. And it's concerning too because his free throw percentage is at 56%. It actually dropped from the year before, which is interesting because when you watch Mitch shoot free throws, the shot doesn't look crazy. It doesn't look like Devin Vassell. You know what I mean? It doesn't look like that. Like, it don't look like that.
Yo, speaking of that's wild though, because like the dude's a good shooter, but his shooting form is crazy though. I'm like,
maybe he was trying a new form out. I don't know. I'm not gonna hold that against him. He shoots well at the games. That's all that matters.
Exactly.
But
as long as
that
it goes
Marcus
in.
Joakim no one looking shot, bro. My man was looking crazy.
Word.
Oh god. All right. But back to Mitch. But yeah. Defensively though, the fact that he can play defense at the rim. There's still potential that he can guard 1 to 5, even though he kind of gets lost when he gets on switches sometimes or he overplays. He still has the athleticism to get back into plays, kind of like so he still has the potential to be switchable. I really want to see what the big man whisperer Kenny Payne has to say about that. And Tom Thibodeau, who these guys are a stickler for teaching people the details of the game. So that part of his game could grow. Even his post game can grow a little bit. Who knows? But I do feel like there's a lot of room for Mitch to grow. And I feel as if it's less likely he'll get to a Bam comparison because of the lack of assists.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like RJ has a slightly better chance of getting closer to Jimmy, closer to Jimmy. Even though I'm not going to say Jimmy, but you know, in the vicinity, maybe.
Yeah.
But if Mitch throws those things, I think we'll be fine as those two guys being the pillar, and you can kind of concentrate on building out the rest of the team.
Yeah, pretty much. And speaking of the Mitch like comparison, like I think it'll be kind of like it's less likely he'll reach the level of Bam Adebayo. Like I see Mitch more like a Rudy Gobert type player.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where he'll defend the rim. He's very effective off the pick and roll and things of that nature. But even with Rudy Gobert, like Gobert will pass the ball at times. You know, Gobert is also a willing passer from the center position. You know, so to me, it's like if Mitch can at least just maybe average like around 13 points a game, hopefully like 10 rebounds a game. You know, still be effective off the pick and roll, defend the rim, and at least give me like 2.5 assists per game. Like I'd feel like that'd be a great like growth for Mitch Robinson in general, even if he doesn't reach like Adebayo type levels.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Just give me a jumper, yo. Just give me a jumper.
That too. Yeah.
If you're not gonna pass like Adebayo, just give me just give me a jumper.
Exactly.
Just give me a little. That's it. Keep him honest. Keep him honest.
Like a little like 15-foot mid-range jumper, and then like 1 or 2 times hit a 3. You know, I'll be straight.
Oh yeah, well exactly. Attempt and a half a game.
Straight. Yeah, I'll be straight.
That's it. Then we'll take care of the rest. We'll take care of the rest. Yeah. Which brings us to the point guards.
Point guards.
The point guards. Yeah, I know I said I was going to start with a certain player, but I almost feel like I'm going to reverse it.
All right.
I'm contemplating my mind. All right, so as we are building the Dollar Tree Miami Heat on the Knicks, we already have RJ Barrett playing the role of Jimmy Butler. And Mitchell Robinson playing the role of Bam Adebayo. But now as we go to the point guards, we're looking at what the Heat have. And the Heat did a lot with Goran Dragic. Of course, he got injured in the playoffs, in the finals. And he probably would have helped. But I definitely feel like there are Goran Dragic-like players on the market in free agency. And in the draft too, actually, that can fill that role. So, where should we start? Where should we start?
Well, I mean, looking at the list, we got Augustin,
You want to
we
start with
got
Augustine?
VanVleet, and we got rookie Malachi Flynn.
Or drafty? Yeah.
Drafty, yeah. So you know what? Let's start with your boy from Toronto, VanVleet, because I feel like that's probably the closest comparison, maybe to Dragic.
Okay. Okay, cool. So VanVleet. What I like about VanVleet is I personally don't believe he's the closest comparison to Dragic.
Okay.
I'll say this. I'll say what he does that Dragic does well, that he does the best out of all the point guards mentioned, is hit 3-point shot.
Yeah.
To me, right? Like he shoots them at a very high rate. I think around seven a game, and shoots at a high percentage, right?
Yeah.
What VanVleet really doesn't do that Dragic gives you is the finishing.
Yeah, that is true. But I feel like, I don't know, at least in my opinion, like, because DJ Augustin isn't really a great finisher at the rim as well. Like, I feel like Dragic can finish at the rim better than both of them. So, to me, it's like, you know, finishing is really give or take with VanVleet and Augustin. Then, you know, Flynn is a draftee, so we're not sure how he's going to translate to the NBA at the moment.
Right.
You know, so, like, okay, so 3-point percentage at the moment. I think VanVleet probably has the advantage there with the shooting. When it comes to finishing at the rim, I'm like, give or take. You know, it's a pretty even to me between Augustin and VanVleet.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like pick and roll. I feel like VanVleet will probably be a bit more effective off the pick and roll, but that's my opinion. You know, and then like when you talk about scoring clip, I'm like, VanVleet actually scores at a clip similar to Dragic as opposed to Augustin, where, you know, Augustin doesn't score as much. So I don't know. I don't know. In my opinion, I feel like VanVleet's probably a similar like a more of a similar comparison, but you know, different opinions. So,
all right, cool. I will say this about Augustine, because I know there are some people who will say why Augustine he's kind of washed. And I'll say this: DJ Augustine, he did have a down year last year. That's pretty much because of injury. But if you look at what he did in the subsequent years, he shot in 40% from 3 7 times his career. One of those times was under Tom Thibodeau. So we already know there's a Tom Thibodeau factor. Tom Thibodeau already kind of knows what to do with this guy. And I think he'll be able to do it again. Right? Decent clip, 3.5 attempts a game, right? And the games that he did come back, he averaged, before the whole NBA shut down, he was averaging 19 points a game and 55% field goal percentage, 53% from 3, which is kind of ridiculous to think he'll keep that up for a whole season. But it just kind of lets you know that, you know, once he's back and running, he can get going. I think if he had a full season and he was healthy, you would see those numbers start to uptick, because that's just the way his season has been. Also, when it comes to the pick and roll, don't sleep on him in the pick and roll. He's ranked in the 72nd percentile in pick and roll possessions, and he does it at a high clip too. He does it at 55% of the time. He's league leading. He runs the pick and roll more than most of the point guards in the league, even so. He's a really good pick and roll player. Now, when it comes to the defense, that's where you have your problems. But, you know, Goran Dragic wasn't a defender either.
Yeah, that is true.
Goran Dragic wasn't a defender either. That's when you're hoping that Tom Thibodeau could really, really lean on your defense. I mean, can develop a team defense. Here's the thing about Fred VanVleet. Fred VanVleet is a very good point guard. And like I said, the value in Fred VanVleet is in the two-wayness of his game. Like, he's a really good three-point shooter who can play defense. But he's not a point guard. So his playmaking isn't on the level of the other point guards I have mentioned on this comparison list. Like, even Dragic is in the 70s in percentile in pick and roll, while VanVleet is in the 50th percentile in pick and roll.
All right.
So, yeah, Augustine will run pick and roll, and Dragic will run pick and roll better than him. Now, it can still work out for us if we do get a VanVleet, just because his shooting and his defense is that good at the point guard position. So he'll make up for that point. But as a Dragic comparison, I still might lean towards DJ Augustine for that. But you know what? VanVleet, it might, if we have the money, VanVleet might make more sense to you in your mind. And I know a lot of Knicks fans are thinking that.
Here's my thing with VanVleet. Like, he averages 6.6 assists per game. So if he's not as effective off the pick and roll as, say, Augustine, who averages less assists per game, and Flynn, like we say, he's in college. He definitely seems like, Goran Dragic, style of player. But so we don't know how he's going to translate to the NBA as of yet. But
right.
My thing is, where does most of his assists come from? That if it's not really through the pick and roll, if he's not really that effective in the pick and roll, like where does his assists come from? Does it mainly come from like back cuts, or like that's my question anyway about VanVleet.
I can't give you the exact answer from what I've seen though. I think it's just more like he just makes the simple passes off of maybe like secondary, probably a lot of secondary, like a lot of secondary play action, yo. A lot of secondary play action, because I feel like Toronto moves the ball.
Yeah.
Moves the ball well, and it's not just strictly point guard action. Like there's Siakam and there's man ball movement. So I feel like a lot of that is just, get into the defense, pass it out to a shooter, pass it out to or pass it to a big man, but it's not like a high. Not to say he can't run a pick and roll. Yeah. He's just, he's dead in the middle. 50% is like.
Yeah, his give or take.
Right. But the knock on him has always been that he's a combo guard and not like a pure point guard.
Yeah.
It's just that his shooting is just that so good that, you can open up things for RJ. So it works out. If RJ is going to be the one posting and trying to make plays from that post area, then you can use him as a secondary playmaker and it'll work out for us in the Knicks.
Yeah.
So, that's the way I see it.
All right, so basically he gets a lot of his assists off luck, because when they're moving the ball around, off luck. because when they're moving the ball around and he gets the ball, like it just so happens that the player's making the final move to the basket. He's like, okay, I'm gonna make this final pass. There we go, basket.
Yo, he's awful. Like, I would say luck. Yo, watch it. Like, watch his passing too. Yo, like, he doesn't make a lot of fancy smancy.
Yeah, I know that
passes.
Yeah.
His passes be like, a lot of his passes is the simple, correct basketball pass. Like,
yeah, exactly.
That's a lot of his passes are. You're not between pocket. No, he's not doing it. Here you go, simple, correct.
Yeah, the correct basketball play. All right,
basketball play, exactly. Now, which brings me to somebody else I started getting into, because I am still Team Kira. Let's not forget that Jay Ellis is still Team Kira. I'm just going over my comparisons, and because I do feel like Kira can definitely secondary play make next to RJ Barrett. And also play make himself without RJ to a certain extent. But he doesn't shoot the three potentially as high as a volume as these other point guards mentioned. Like even DJ Augustine, even though he didn't shoot well this year, he shot well from 3 years before, which is the only reason why I don't have Kira on this list, even though Kira can't shoot threes. I'm just saying that. All right. But this brings me to Malachi Flynn, man. Malachi Flynn from San Diego State. This guy is 6'1", 185 pounds, average 17 points a game, 4.5 rebounds per game, which is interesting because he's a short point guard.
Yeah.
5.1 assists, 1.8 steals, 37% from three. The thing about him, which makes me think that he's a really good Dragic comparison coming out the league, and we'd be able to kind of draft him maybe in the 27th, or maybe we have to go higher. Who knows? Because I feel like certain players I feel like scouts might be thinking he could be taken earlier. Is that his pick and roll passing is on some next level stuff. And I'm not an expert on him. I've just been looking at certain highlights and breakdowns of him. And when I'm looking at them, it seems promising. I'll say that. He can shoot at the pick and roll. He can pass out the pick and roll in a variety of ways. He does a lot of hang dribbles and hesitations. He's patient. And he gives correct pocket passes. So him and Mitch together doing the pick and roll will be a nice addition for the Knicks. And will give us another creator to work with on that side of the ball. I'm not sure how he passes to the 3-point shooters, though. I haven't really seen that many instances of him passing it to like the shooters that are available. That would be a nice thing to add, but I do know that the pick and roll passing is pretty on point. Also, I'll say that the 3-point shooting is pretty good. 43% on spot up threes, something that we can all use. 40% off of movement screens, which is when you're watching the Miami Heat, what made them so dangerous is the fact that a lot of the guards and the wings were able to not just spot up, but move to the open spot in the half-court offense, cut, and also shoot effectively off of screens. And he was one of the point guards who was able to do that, shooting off moving screens. Now, he didn't do it at a high clip, it seems, but he has that ability to do that. But he got him up 6.4 attempts a game, and the tenacity is good too. Plays full court defense. You gotta love a guy who plays full court defense, especially if you're gonna be 6'1".
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah,
and he also, gets his steals. He gets a lot of sneaky steals. Plays really good team defense. And if you're looking at the Heat, they play pretty good team defense.
Yes, sir.
So I think he will definitely fill that role in that regard. He's 6'1" though, so even though he seems to fight and he's a good he plays good defense, you wonder how that's going to translate when he's playing bigger guards in the NBA. If people feel like he can still hold his own at that level, but we'll see at 6'1",
Yeah, and it kind of hurts the fact that he has a 6'3" wingspan as well. So it's not even like he has a wingspan to make up for his short height.
Right.
So yeah, so it's definitely gonna be a problem if he's trying to close out on shooters and things of that nature. So that's the only really issue I see with him on defense. But I do like the fact that he's from the San Diego Aztecs program, because you got to remember that's where players like Kawhi came from. And they're a program that teaches their players how to play defense.
Right.
So that's definitely a positive on his part. I haven't done extensive research on the player. I've only seen like, little highlights here and there. And, I've read up on him a little bit, but I do like the fact that he's effective off the pick and roll. He's able to shoot with movement. He's not just a spot up shooter. He can, come off screens, come off the pick and roll and just, spot up, just stop, on the dime and shoot it, which is what I like.
Absolutely.
And I think if you look at him like overall, like his overall game, like I do see similarities to Dragic. Like Dragic's not a very explosive guard too.
Nah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So from that standpoint, you definitely see a similarity there. They're both not athletic guards, but I feel like, like Dragic, Dragic's able to, manipulate the defense, get his shot up, and I feel like he can do similar things. So when you look at it from that standpoint, it's like, yeah, he's a similar player to Dragic.
Right. Even his finishing, it seems like he finishes at a higher rate, but the problem with him is he's not fast. So he doesn't he doesn't actually get to the rim at a high rate. So that might be a problem. So
yeah.
So he needs to kind of work on, floaters and things of that, or just but he uses his body well. To me, when I'm looking at all these guys, he's the closest thing to Dragic that there is. to me. To me, when I'm looking at it.
Yeah, I just feel like, Dragic is a bit more crafty. Like he'll get to like Dragic is not fast either, but Dragic will find a way with his handle to get to the rim though.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's something that, Flynn is definitely gonna have to work on when he gets to the next level.
Exactly. Now Flynn, he's cool. He does this thing where he snakes in between. He's crap. Watch it. He does this thing where he sneaks in between pick and rolls and still gets to the rim, but no, he doesn't get to the rim that much. I'm lying. But
yeah,
the highlights I've seen when he does the little snake thing, I'm like, oh, okay. He has a little something.
Yeah.
So tell me what you think, guys, below on the YouTube comments, man. How you feeling the comparisons? Are we spot on? Are we crazy? Shout out to all the new listeners and viewers. I feel like our YouTube is picking up lately. So shout out to you guys, all the Knicks fans who are engaged. If you love our content, thank you. If you think we suck, thank you for watching anyway.
Word.
Also, shout out to Dash Radio for housing us, and shout out to listen to all our stuff on Spotify, SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, and all that stuff. All right?
Word.
All right, so we're going to continue the next section of our Dollar Tree Knicks Miami Heat rebuild on the next episode. I hope you enjoy what we had to say so far. But now it's time for one of the favorite parts of the show.
Bruh.
It's the bruh picks, man. No ooh picks this week. There's no basketball. So you know what it is.
Yeah.
LeBron one who can. I'm not a LeBron, but bruh picks. I got one, man. I got one, and all I have to say is, Devin, man, why? Whose man's is this, Ryan? Whose man? I know we touched on it earlier, but my man shooting coach is Joakim Noah for real?
All of them, yo. Joakim Noah, Sean Marion, Lonzo Ball, all of them, yo.
All of them this shot. How in the hell did this man become one of the best two-way players in the draft with the ball cocking behind his head?
Word.
Bruh.
That's it. Shout out to Marcus Camby too.
Yes, Marcus Camby. You can't forget Camby as well. Yeah.
The original hand behind the head shooting form shot maker. He started making that towards the end of his career too. That's the funny part.
Exactly, yo. Yo, the good thing about it though, he shot hard to block because when it's coming all the way from back here, it's gonna be hard as hell to block.
Yeah, when your arms reach the Pacific Ocean, it's gonna be hard to block.
Exactly.
Shout out to my guy Kevy, man. Get a Kevy, man. No bro picks for you, right? Or do you have one?
I can't think of a bro pick really, man. I mean, if you want to think about the comments that Kyrie Irving made on the podcast about how he don't think the Nets have a head coach and things of that nature. I mean, I mean, yeah, that could be bro pick.
Absolutely.
Actually, matter of fact, Kyrie was talking kind of crazy because he was saying that. He was saying that KD's the first player he's played with that can actually knock down the big shot. I'm like, is that a shot at LeBron?
That was
like,
absolutely a shot at LeBron, dog. That was absolutely a shot at LeBron.
I'm like, and then he tried to play it off saying that, he wasn't taking no shots at LeBron and this and that. And you know what? I'm going to be fair to Kyrie. I think I kind of understand what he's talking about, because LeBron ain't exactly a shooter per se, but KD's actually a shooter.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think that's what he meant. But when you look at it, look at it from the whole scope, it's like saying that it's the first time you play with a player that can actually hit the big shot, and LeBron's hit a lot of big shots in his career.
Yeah.
Especially when he was at Cleveland too. I'm like,
it was subliminal. But
yeah.
But look, LeBron is part of the petty gang too. LeBron shot back. LeBron shot back. When they asked him why does this thing work with the Lakers, he said, it's easier to play with somebody who's not jealous of you. I don't know if that's exact words. I don't remember the exact words, but it was something along those lines.
Yes, it was
something along those lines. And I was just like, ooh, we talking about Kyrie. Like, he definitely talking about Kyrie.
Ah, damn.
But yeah, definitely bruh pick to Kyrie.
Bruh.
Yeah. Somewhere Alex is cheering because he was about to be mad at you that you didn't have a bruh pick, but you pulled one out your butt. Congratulations.
Yeah, so
you always gotta have one. You can't have me be the new bruh. No, that can't be me.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I gotta at least have one. Even though it's gonna be kind of hard now since there's no NBA basketball period. But I'm gonna try and fish around for bruh picks here and there.
Yeah, we might have to fish around. We might have to go to America's Funniest Home Video or something. We have to do something.
Word.
All right, that is our show. Good show, right? Good show.
Yeah, man, very good show.
Making content when there is no content.
Exactly.
Content kings. All right.
Yes, sir.
Yo, tune in next week. Shout out to Dash Radio, who's housing us, man. Shout out to SoundCloud. You can hear us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. If you don't follow us on YouTube, are you dumb? What's wrong with you, bro? Gotta watch this.
Yeah, I need to get with the program and follow.
Get with these programs, man. We just crossed 4K followers on YouTube, so shout out to us. And we climbing. So definitely subscribe on YouTube at youtube.com/The Nick of Time Show.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Follow us on Instagram too.
Yes, definitely follow us on Instagram too. I'm on Instagram at the Nick of Time Show is on Instagram at nickoftimeshow.com. Right? We're also on Twitter at thekotshow.com. We also have a blog on nickoftimeshow.com. Right? All right.
Yeah.
And you can find me at Ellis Drawstings on Instagram. That's JELLIS Drawstings if you want to follow your boy. And where can he find you, my guy?
They can find me at Sir G.
G is chilling.
That is SIRG is CHILLIN.
Yeah, that is it. That is our show.
Yes, we out.
Peace.
New York, big city of dreams.
I'm coming straight out.
New York, big city of dreams.
NYC.